Hello, beautiful beloveds. This is Stephanie Parasha, Divine Light, coming to you from Aotearoa, New Zealand. So this is the 22nd of July, and it is the day before we go into the Sun into Leo and the Leo new moon. There's definitely been a massive ramp up of energies in terms of our ascension. You could call it either an ascension wave or all of the ascension symptoms are kind of coming on high for a lot of people this week. So this is in terms of, I'm giving you an energy update as at, this particular time for twin flames and light workers. So what I've been feeling is kind of like a bit of a tug of war. Feels like there's quite a tension that's coming in as pressure in terms of my head, and sort of feeling a bit dizzy and nauseous the last few days. The tug of war kind of feels probably as if it's between the two polarities. That it feels like, depending, there's a spectrum again of where you're at in that tug of war. How you've got a lot of people on one side and they're all the way along, and then on the other side, the other people are on the other side. It feels like quite a few people have dropped the rope in terms of they could almost be at the other end kind of giving up and just letting go, and so the energy is kind of getting pulled in one direction. And I'm kind of being told that it's the victim mentality and those people that kind of haven't got the energy and they're a bit tired and they kind of prefer to blame everyone else that have kind of dropped the rope, and those people need to actually pick up the rope and get strong and tough and take some responsibility and pick up the rope and start pulling and putting the effort in and doing their work in terms of, their side of what they're meant to be doing. And then there's a whole lot of people on the other side that are pulling way too hard and trying to control things and creating tension, and they actually just need to let go. And when they sort of put down the rope, then it allows that flow of energy where it needs to flow, which is obviously in a generalized upward direction towards peace and harmony and love and all those positive things. So that is kind of how I'm feeling the energies right now. So that is for various people, affecting everyone differently. Excuse the noise, I'm just checking my notes because I had to write some things down. So I've written here: ascension symptoms on high, pressure cooker, nervous system upgrades. Many people will be feeling digestive issues, perhaps nausea, the push-pull, maybe some sleep disturbances, emotional energetics, obviously emerging from this, and kind of slightly unrelated, but everything being related. I've been it's coming into my field, and it's more of a question that I'm going to pose to put out there, rather than, me sitting up here, and I never claim to be a preacher. I just like to share what I'm experiencing in order for my intention to help and confirm to others that what they're going through is normal, and that really just to have a conversation. So where was I going with that? So yes, the emotional question that I've kind of been feeling lately, that I have a question about, is around emotion and why it's so important, and how that it's such an energy source, and why is it such an energy source, and is it necessary for survival, and what would we do without it, and how can we kind of tap into the energy here and use it in a positive way of emotion. And I was having a conversation, this was kind of sparked by a conversation with a friend of mine who talked about kind of this energy-sucking vampire system that survives on the fuel of negative emotion, which is playing out on many people's micro relationships. And I am going to use the term narcissist because I've been learning a lot about that lately and have experienced it personally firsthand. So that micro-level narcissist that feeds like a parasite and a vampire off the energy fuel of an empath, and likes to, create chaos and destruction and fear and harm and pain. So, and, then you've got that as a macro system whereby we've got these tricksters that are deceiving us and using these manipulative ways to control us through various means that make them look like they're trying to help us, like the health system and the government system. And, it's just one big system in place that as we're waking up to it, it's really important that we create a self-sufficient energy source, that each person takes responsibility to maintain their own self-sustainability and sovereignty, and avoiding, that tendency for humans to lay blame on others for their situation and not acknowledging their own source of creativity and power. Big about blame. I've got written in big letters, actually. Blame is a big part of it. So, I guess the histrionics or the psychology of the narcissist is that many of them can trace their behaviour back to incidents in childhood where they were abused, and therefore, they've had such an impact of trauma that it has created this personality characteristic defence mechanism to avoid the pain, in which case they're kind of laying blame. They're saying, look, this happened to me and I want everybody to feel my pain, and they're projecting it outwards and trying to, so it's basically taking that responsibility back in terms of the way forward. Divine Feminine also to do that, because there's a lot of blame. There has been a lot of blame of the masculine and creating that victim mentality where, this has happened to us and this is all happening to us and we don't have any control over it and it's their fault and they've done this to us, and sort of staying in that place. And yes, these bad things have happened, but in many ways, this kind of level of control pushes us to a point where eventually we can only stand so much and we'll break free of it and we'll say, no, I'm not putting up with that shit anymore, and I'm going to stand up to it and say no when it starts to impact my personal well-being or the well-being of my community. I had a couple of dreams. Sorry, I'm jumping from place to place because I'm reading through my notes. I had a couple of dreams this week that were of the similar theme, whereby there was water that was overflowing and sort of rising on the planet, causing a bit of a flood. And so there was, that to me always represents water, always represents the emotions. So overwhelming emotions for a lot of people. I also saw it, a second dream was kind of showing me even more that my toilet was blocked, and there was so much, it was clogged up so badly with, obviously excrement, and it was quite disgusting. And so it was kind of another symbology when I checked in and tuned into what that dream meant for me. It was telling me that was the collective experience right now, and that, we've just filled ourselves up with so much garbage. We're just overloaded. We're continually producing more toxicity within our thoughts and our emotions and on our physical environment and our world, and that's just causing a backup. And we've really got to look at that. We've either got to start clearing out that shit, transmuting it, healing it, taking responsibility for the cleanup, and detoxing ourselves of all of those things, both on every level, micro, macro, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and across the planet as well. And, keeping things pretty much as natural and as simple as possible in that process, and, as real and authentic as possible in that process, and just being in your heart always. And so I'm going to kind of wrap it up there. I think there was quite a lot of information coming through there, and I have just received this download, so I'm doing it as it's coming through rather than sitting and integrating it. So just one more thing I wanted to mention before I finish, that I'm going to be joining beautiful CosmicGypsy33 Matahariji tonight. My time, it's quite a different time zone. She's this beautiful UK goddess who is very much tuned into the twin flame mission and is doing some amazing work holding space and creating ceremony and intentional mass clearings and healings on a bringing us all together, really. So I am being very much called to be part of that, and that will be taking place at 4:44 p.m. UK time, which is in my time, the 23rd of July, it becomes my time in New Zealand, 4:45 in the morning. So I'm going to be getting up nice and early. Maybe I'll stay up all night for the real purpose of healing some of the masculine wounding and the troubled, wounded parts of our society that have created that imbalance of the unconscious masculine behaviours, and healing and clearing that and forgiving that energy. And we've been asked to produce or find something that represents the old paradigm, patriarchy and masculine, all of that stuff. So I've just made a sort of art piece that's got all these different words written all over it that I'm going to burn, which represent to me that energy. And I made a cross because that reminds me of how much that energy disrespected the truth and the love. And I found a heart on the beach. It was a rock, heart-shaped rock, and it had all these holes in it. And I thought, that's another representation to me where, we've had so much pain in our hearts and we've been disconnected, and our hearts are so damaged from, again, that sort of really harsh energy imbalance. So, and then we are asked to find something that represented the forgiveness of this energy and the healing of this energy. And a wee while ago, about a year or so ago, I found a rock when I was just beginning my twin flame journey, and I was on a walk one day and came across this rock in this really random spot, and I could hardly believe my eyes. I was absolutely astounded. I have done another video on this previously, whereby there was this heart-shaped rock, and it had a black circle on one side and a white circle on the other, and it very much represented the yin and the yang. And I was horrified because I was really trying to avoid this whole thing, and it was just getting crazier and crazier by the day, and I was just trying to pretty much avoid really even dealing with this twin flame thing. I was in massive denial. Rather than really wanting a twin flame, I didn't want a twin flame. Which is a bit crazy, because I feel sorry for those people out there in some way that all they wanted me to do was meet their twin flame. And when I met mine, I was like horrified and completely terrified of the whole thing, and just have been quite a lot since that time. And it's been very challenging for me. So anyway, so I did a reading and used my liquid crystal cards, and they are Jason Mohoika, I don't know if I've pronounced that, Asa, liquid crystal oracle cards. And for the feminine energies, I got personal power in action, tiger's eye, focus, azurite, spirit of the earth, turquoise, and clear calcite, the universal mind. And I felt that to be really just so beautiful, like perfect, just the blend of the mission here on earth, the really grounded mission, yet at the same time tapped into the universal mind, which I believe has now been handed over. I feel as if there's been something happened galactically. I'm getting this as it's coming to my mind straight through. A galactic kind of handover of the universal mind to the energies of the divine kind of balance, and there's no longer that kind of patriarchal control, and sort of, if you get that meaning, it's no longer there around the control of information. Focus is just really, focusing on our journey, from here. We're really very much an ascension journey. We've all stepped onto that path and just can keep going and continue. And then beautiful personal power, tiger's eye, that's exactly what we need right now. The feminine needs all the power they can get, and it's being gifted to us. So beautiful, so be it. And then I was, rather than going straight into the masculine, the next card that I was pulled was being told to me that it was a joining of the masculine and the feminine. So this was kind of like the bridging card that would bring us together. And so I got Garnet, manifestation of purpose. So that to me was really meant, that is the point of joining. Like, the masculine also has a huge mission, and they know what their mission is, and the feminine also knows what their mission is. And so now it's about joining together on that. Like, we can join together and focus on our purpose and why we're here. And, quite honestly, with this twin flame divine love thing, we have been rather, the initial part of the journey was all this, the love and the romance. And, I do believe in that, but I do feel as if at this point of the journey feels like it's more kind of quite grounded and less kind of, sorry guys, less about the romance exactly, I think we will get to that eventually, but this feels so much more like, so I can't even find words. I don't even know how to describe this, what I'm being given. But it's kind of like, it feels like we're about to go into battle or something, and we have to put our soldiers' outfits on, and it doesn't matter. I mean, I guess I'm getting the image of the Israel army where the men and the women both go to war and they both are treated equally, I believe. I don't really know the ins and outs of that, but that's how it's been presented to me anyway. So we're on a mission. And then the masculine cards were black coral, light in the darkness. So that is, basically the darkness has just been that's been the predominant energy for the masculine, and they've been really caught up into that and really pulled in. But now the light, they're finding the light, they're finding the way, they're coming to that light. And then the very next card was enlightenment. So it was like, yay, more and more energies of the male energy, the masculine, coming into the light and enlightenment. And then the next one was light embodied. So therefore, again, it was all about the light. That it was in every single card, it was about light. So they're going to come into this amazing new energy. So it's going to happen quite fast. And the other card for the masculine was amber laughter. So I'm just remembering, that's another form of healing. Like, again, I'm being shown this as it comes off the press, because it's funny, the feminine energies are telling me, they like to cry about everything and wah, 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 and da, da, da. And the male can release that same energy that's trapped in the heart, in the chakra system, as laughter. And that's kind of like the opposite. It's kind of like the same, but the opposite. You know how some people say that when you're healing and you're laughing and crying and together and it's all mixed up. So, that's kind of going to be the male way of healing. How cool is that? They get to laugh, we got to cry. Well, anyway, that's how it's being presented to me. Okay, well, I'm going to try and finish this up because it's getting really long. This is one of the longest videos I've done. And I've just looked at the time and it's 21:21. So to me, that means it's time to finish. And I want to thank you all very much for listening and hearing this whole thing out. And I hope it's helped you, and I'm going to send you all heaps of love and light, and I will give you an update very soon again. Okay, bye for now.